Good evening. Good evening. Hey, YouTube. Hey, Facebook. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening. All right. So, we're going to get started. Hope you guys had a great day. Um, Hope you guys had a good week. If you did not have a great day or a good week, this is the best thing about it. It is over. It is over. And there's a chance to keep going and do that thing again. So, hey, it might not have ended the way you wanted it. It might not be the way you need it to be right now, but just know it's over. And you have a second chance to do it all over again, to get it right, to make some changes, to make some moves, right? All right. So, good evening, guys. I'm going to get started. Um, Welcome to Camper Conversations. When you come on, when you get on, especially if you're on YouTube, if you could type in the chat and let me know who's on, who you are, that would be great. Facebook, I am going to do my best to follow on my other devices to try to keep up and keep up on comments and all that good stuff. Y'all know I'm working through all this other stuff, and I don't always get all the comments. So I'm gonna try my best to make sure I keep up and get all the comments in the chat, okay? Because I appreciate you guys being here. I enjoy our time together. So we're gonna get started. All right, we're gonna get started. So good evening. Hey guys, how are you? I'm Donna. This is our weekly segment called Camper Conversations. Welcome to Real Life Relationship Growth. This is our YouTube channel. This is our Facebook page. Camper Conversations stemmed from me sitting in my fifth wheel camper and thinking about, hey, this would be a good idea to come on and discuss some things and talk to everybody. And we talk to each other about topics that we deal with as adults on a daily basis sometimes. Relationship things that we deal with, our successes, our failures, or whatever. Your relationship is not like mine. My relationship is not like yours. But there may be something within what we've dealt with, what we've learned, what we do that can help someone else. That's the whole purpose of us being here. This is the purpose of Camper Conversations on real life relationship growth. So let me say this quick snippet. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please, please, please go subscribe to the Real Life Relationship Growth channel. Hey, Neelam, please go and subscribe. Um, Trying to build that channel, the Real Life Relationship Growth channel on YouTube. If you have not subscribed, please go there and subscribe. We got a few things going on. I've mentioned before to you guys, I'm trying to plan a singles mixer in Atlanta. Still trying to find a venue, but more importantly, I need to find dates. It's going to be a whole weekend. It's going to be an entire weekend. Singles going to come together from everywhere. There are 1.9K members on this in this group. I'm sure I don't see everyone, but when the videos end, I can always go back and look at the insights, and there's so many views after the fact. So this is why I go ahead and I keep doing what I do. So I may see one or two on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, but I keep doing what I do because somebody says to me at some point, hey, thank you for that. And that's what we're here for. We're here for each other. So singles mixer, trying to get that together. Um, just something, we're going to come together and do a live forum camper conversation. We're going to have a topic. We're going to dive into it. Married people, you are invited to the live. You are invited to the live portion of the mixer because we need everybody's input. We want everyone's input. We need everybody's things. There are no experts associated with this page, as far as I know. If you are a relationship counselor, expert, family therapist, any of those things, hey, please let me know. Please let me know, because I would love to use your expertise to try to help someone, if not myself. All right? All right, so we're going to get started. We always just go ahead and kick into this and get started. So our topic tonight is after the divorce. After the divorce. That is our topic tonight. So I posted 2 videos earlier on the page. One is a woman speaking her perspective on what to do after the divorce. The other one is a man. I usually kind of play these clips. I think I'm gonna play the video clip. Let me do that. Because sometimes that's helpful, guys. I'm gonna play the video clips.
People who are like, oh my God, I don't even know who I am anymore.
And see, because they're short. So I'm gonna play. All right, here we go.
I've been in this relationship for so long, like.
Start over, ma'am. All right.
Are you one of those people who are like, oh my God, I don't even know who I am anymore because I've been in this relationship for so long, like, what does fun mean? In one of my earlier therapy sessions, like early at the beginning, I had mascara, like, running down my face. And my therapist goes, go do something fun this weekend. Mind you, I haven't had non-parenting time, like, ever. And I was like, what do people do for fun? I didn't even know. Now, if you've been married for like 28 years, your kids are probably grown. But same diff, right? Like, it's just, what do I do for fun? My whole world was like this thing, and now it's this thing, and I don't even have a grid for this thing because nothing's in it. Yeah, so this is where I'm just going to say, buckle up, buttercup, and be alone. Because the only way you're going to find out who you are is if you do the work. Therapy is also going to do wonders for you. And then think about what you would do for actual fun and go start doing those things. And the more fun that you have, the more you're going to realize what lights your soul on fire. And then you're going to find out who you are and what you value through that evolution. Now, when I say be alone, I don't mean don't see friends. I just mean don't get into a relationship and start exploring you for you and what you want to do, what you're interested in, what your values are. Invite your girlfriends in on that. Take a couple, trips. Don't cut bangs. So many people do it and they regret it. I mean, there's 1 out of 5 looks great with bangs. Does this help? I'm here for you.
So that was the female perspective. This is the male.
How do I start over? That's one of the questions I get more often than not from people in midlife. They've been in a long-term relationship. They've lived with somebody forever. They've been married forever, and now they're divorced or starting over. And they go, what do I do? Well, the first thing is this. It's not hop on an app. It's not figure out where do I meet people. It's figure out who the hell you are. And here's why. I'm not talking about find yourself or go to Costa Rica and hang out with spider monkeys. I'm talking about figuring out what you like to do, what you want, what you expect. Because here's the thing, 2 things actually. Number 1, who you are at 47, 50 something is a totally different human being than you were at 27 when you probably got married or maybe even when you dated last. The other thing is this. What do you like to do? What do you want? Because the last time you've been in a relationship for so long, you were a we. We did this. We like this. Figure out who you are. Knock the dust off the boots and you'll figure that out. That's where you start.
All right. So I thought it would be important to have a male and a female perspective as opposed to just having just one or the other. And as you guys know, if you follow this page, if you're on this page, part of this group, I like to do that. We're not here to bash anyone. We're not here to. Some subjects are specific to males. Some subjects are specific to females. Can't get around that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when there's a generalization to be made, I like to make sure we try to get equal total of information or thought process or feelings. So that's why I thought it was really important to put a video up of a male and a female. Okay? All right. So there was something that I noticed that both of them said. that both of them said. They kind of wasn't verbatim, word for word, just alike, but the tone of it was pretty much the same. And what both of them said, what I heard both of them saying is take some time to find and learn yourself. Take some time to find and learn yourself. Jumping into a new relationship is not the healthiest thing. That's not going to do it. Take some time, to find and learn yourself. So many times we get into relationships, and for those of us who have been in long relationships, some of us got into relationships when we were young, and that was just what was familiar to us. We stuck with that person, we stayed with that person, kind of really not knowing what we were doing. But that is the person that we met and fell in love with and made a decision that they are our forever. It was going to be us till death do us part. We all know that, right? Till death do us part. So we get into these relationships. And then we move into marriage. And the marriages go on, and time goes on, and time goes on. And in the process of that, we learn more about ourselves and more about each other. But we tend to learn so much more about ourselves because we start realizing, I didn't know that, or I didn't see that, or I didn't know I would like that. Different things. We don't really know those things. We don't really know those things until we get into these relationships and we get into these marriages and we're trying to live for someone else. Because, let's be honest, when you marry someone, you're saying, I'm giving myself to you. I'm giving myself to you. You're giving yourself to me. We don't belong to ourselves anymore. The decisions I make, I have to go through you. The shopping that I do, for the food for the house, where we want to live, how many children we want to have, if we want to have children, all those things have to be discussed. They come through two people. And in the process of trying to figure out what he likes or what she likes or what's pleasing to him or what's pleasing to her, we tend to lose ourselves. And let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with losing some of yourself when you're gaining a healthy relationship, because that means you're paying attention to the things that your spouse needs. And that's the goal. That is the goal in marriage, what my spouse needs. There was there's a radio station out here, what is it, 104.1, Frank Ski. He used to be on V103. And this week, the topic came up on several different stations about all the divorces that were taking place. There were 4 couples who were filed for divorce, or whatever, this week alone, who were calling it quits. So Frank's broadcast question was about, where is it that we're going wrong? What is it that we can do to make our marriages work, right? And as nervous as I get when I'm in front of this camera, believe it or not, y'all, I be nervous. But I don't know why being on that phone was even worse. My voice was shaking, but I was like, I gotta call in because I want to say something. I gotta call in. So I called in. They answered, they want to hear your comment before they put you through to the broadcast. So the lady was like, hold on a minute. I don't want you to have to repeat yourself again, but I want you to continue with Frank and Nina. So when they got on, I was like, dang, initially what I said was like, it flowed. I got my bearings and it flowed. So it was a little bit shaky when they actually got on, right? So anyway, what I said was, I think the problem with marriages staying together is, and Frank mentioned about talking to different men, and the men were saying, from a male perspective, they want a woman that they can build with. They want a woman who can help them be successful, to help them build, to be there, to be a support system for them. That's what they want. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So I said, Frank, you mentioned that. I said, but I feel like the issue and problem with marriages today and why they're not lasting, is because we don't walk into a marriage saying, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? We walk into marriages asking, what can you do for me? How can you help me build? How can you help me be better? I think it's important that when we go into marriages, we're looking at what we can do for our spouse. We're there for them. We're there for them. If two people thought that way, if more marriages, if more people went into marriage thinking that, as opposed to, ooh, I gotta get the right man with the right income level. I gotta get the right woman that's gonna look good on my arm and that's gonna help me to be successful, whatever. How about saying, I gotta keep myself together. I have to make sure I'm educating myself. I have to make sure I'm staying healthy because I want to be here for this man, or I want to be here for this woman. If we look at relationships, going into marriages, and with that perspective, and we say things in that way, can you imagine the relationships, the marriages that will be successful if we went in saying, I for you, not you for me, not you for me. So y'all already know I'm very transparent. I share, have no problems and no qualms with sharing because there's nothing new under the sun. I had a very public relationship. I had a very public marriage. The person that I was in a relationship with was very in front. He liked to be in front. He liked to be heard. He liked to be in the camera. He liked to be seen. So everything was so at the beginning of the relationship, I hid a lot. Not because I was necessarily hiding him because I was embarrassed or whatever, but it was because I wanted to do this thing with just he and I. I wanted us to grow and build because we already had a friendship. We had been friends for 7 years. Notice I say friendship. For 7 years, we had a friendship. But I wanted us to take the time to be able to get to know each other on a more intimate level, on a different level, without all the extras, with all the extras. So we would take pictures, and it would just be us holding hands, or it'll just be like the back of his head or something like that. And it became fun. It became, it became a game, but I was enjoying it, not only because people were like, "Ooh, who is that?" Oh, I wonder. I was enjoying it because it had a piece to it. It had a to it. It had a just me and you to it, right? But when things went public, there was a lot of out front. There was a lot of we're doing this, we're doing that, and saying this and saying that. And then came this big wedding plan, right? Came this big wedding plan. Again, it was very public. It was very public. So I had no problems in sharing as much as he shared as much as what was shared publicly in the buildup, I had no problem sharing in the fall, because I felt like all the people that got involved on the personal level and on the public level, because there were people that we had never met planning to come to the wedding at the Georgia Aquarium. So I felt like it was only fair to publicly bring this thing down, because for one, I was not embarrassed. Y'all know why I wasn't embarrassed? Because it wasn't me that was deceitful. It wasn't me that was sporadic and all of a sudden and on this high and on this low. It wasn't me. I am a very consistent woman. I know what I want. I work for what I want. I go for what I want. If it is for me, then it's going to be for me. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to force it. He was the opposite. And there's so many things that I've learned about that type personality person that, totally honest, y'all, I did not know. I did not know. Like the word narcissist came up so much after the fact. And I was like, well, damn, somebody could have told me this 6 months ago. I literally don't even remember. I remember him calling me a narcissist. And I remember it ringing almost on a constant after he said it the first time. And I'm like, well, dang, maybe I need to look this up. And I'm saying to myself, are you serious? But now that I clearly understand the definition of what it is, a hit dog will always holler. As my grandmother used to say. Okay. So getting to my point. There's so many times that we lose who we are in the process of gaining a relationship. And again, I don't feel there's anything wrong with losing some of who you are, because your whole purpose and point is to pour in to your marriage, to pour into your relationship where it builds, it makes you guys successful. All right? So, but we're here. This is what we're talking about after the divorce. Now, I want to say to any couple, any married couple, I want to applaud you all. If you are married, I am applauding you. I'm applauding you. And you know why I'm applauding? If you are still married to this day, whether you got married yesterday or 40 years ago, I'm applauding you. That's because you are putting in the work. You are taking the time to make sure the commitment that you made is going to be successful. Now, let me say this. Every relationship that ends is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I.e. mine. It wasn't a bad thing. So we feel like just because we want to throw verses of God in the nuptials, we think because we want to say, well, God has brought together, let no man put asunder, and stuff like that. And you know, all of those terminologies. Let me be clear on something. God is not the center of all marriages. He is not involved in all marriages. Matter of fact, he don't have nothing to do with some marriages. When we make choices to move on our own, because we have this thing called free will. When we make the choice to move on our own, he's not going to stop us. He's not going to stop and be like, stop, don't. In so many ways he does. He will. And sometimes we're just not paying attention because it's not what we want. So we just move on and we keep going. But God is not the center of every marriage. He's not. If that is your belief factor, Whatever your belief factor is, if you believe in a higher being and you trust that being to help you navigate through life, they ain't in everything. I personally believe of the God of heaven. I believe in Jesus Christ. They ain't in everything just because we make a choice and a decision. So by saying that, that does not mean that we can't turn to God and he can help situations, because so many times people have gone into businesses. They have moved to a certain state. They have moved to a certain place. They have developed relationships with people they had no business dealing with. They had no business being. They had no business trying this type of business. But because it looked good at the moment, it sounded good, you thought you was going to get all this money from it. You jumped into it. And God was like, oh, you got your LLC, huh? Okay, have fun with that. Relates to marriages as well. So when we make a decision to get into a marriage and we have not taken the time to do premarital counseling, we haven't taken the time to get to know the person, because getting to know someone is a lifetime process. But there are certain things that we need to know and we should know. Their health, for example, what type of debt they have, how do they feel about family building. We need to have these conversations, like the hard stuff. We need to have these conversations. But after the divorce, what do you do after the divorce? Some marriages, like I said, weren't meant to be, and they need to end. They should have ended because there was abuse, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, verbal. Someone was being let down, put down, beat down every day in some form or fashion. That is not a healthy situation. That is not a healthy situation. So some marriages aren't meant to be. Just because you have children does not mean that marriage was meant to be. Does not mean you should be with that person. Does not mean you should be there with that person and in that relationship. Doesn't mean it at all. So when we talk about after the divorce, we've taken so much time to build with this person. And again, like I said, some marriages end and people are happy, they're celebrating. Some marriages end because there was infidelity, there was cheating, somebody found out, they couldn't deal with it, whether male or female, the marriage ended. So some marriages end and they're very cordial with the situation, because I don't want to be here, you don't want to be here, so this thing needs to end. But let's talk about those marriages that end and there is hardship and there is emotional breakdown and struggles. Let's talk about the marriages that end, that bring us into situations where the children are so lost and the children don't know who to turn to, what parent to talk to, what parent not to talk to, how to feel. Let's talk about the marriages that end where you feel like you don't know what to do. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know what you're going to do. So if y'all notice my sweatshirt, ordered this sweatshirt from my brother Steve. Ordered this sweatshirt from him. I saw it and I was like, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. It says me versus me. I am my only competition. Me versus me. I am my only competition. I agree so much with what the videos spoke when we first got started, the videos that were posted. And that is after the divorce, after the tears, and cry your tears. Don't let anybody make you feel, oh, girl, he gone. Oh, man, she wasn't nothing. Whatever. You ought to be happy. You ought to be. Let no one tell you how to feel. Let no one tell you how to adjust your emotions, how long your emotions can stay where they are or move accordingly. That is you. That is you. You take your time. When I got divorced from my children's father, when Daryl and I got divorced, it hit my children really, really, really hard, especially baby girl, because they were like this, inseparable all the time, inseparable all the time. So it was pretty hard and heavy on her. And my mom suggested put her in counseling. Put her in counseling. Now, mind you, this is before we recognized it was rough on her. And I was like, why would we put her in counseling? She seems to be okay. And that's when I started learning that divorce is fashioned like a death. When divorce happens and parents separate and people separate, in a child's mind and even an adult's mind, doctors, psychologists, counselors say that it is fashioned like a death. For that child, that parent is dead. They are gone. Now, in the rational mind of thinking adults, of course, we know that person isn't dead. Stop thinking it. We know that person isn't dead. But in a child's mind, they look at it as my daddy is not here. My mommy is not here. They're gone. Like, they're gone. If they can fashion it to a death. So it's very, very important. Very important. I really commend my mother and I thank her for the advice she gave about counseling for our children. For our children. My daughter went into counseling, and she stayed in counseling for years. And I thank God for her counselor because she helped her walk through things that I could not have. Even if I had the wisdom and the knowledge to do it, it wasn't going to come from me. It wasn't going to come from me. So we have to remember after the divorce, we have to remember there's so many emotions that have to be dealt with, not just ours, but the children's, not just the children's, but possibly the in-laws. Like, I'm going to tell y'all, honestly, my in-laws love me. Me and my mother-in-law, after the marriage ended, we still meet up and go to lunch. Anytime I'm going to Marietta, I'll give her a call and be like, hey, what you doing? I'm coming to Marietta, got an appointment at the VA. Because my VA clinic is all the way in Marietta because the VA is so short on appointments. So anyway, so I'll call her and be like, hey, I'm coming to Marietta. You want to go to lunch? And she'd be like, yeah, where we going? I love her little voice, y'all. And I'd be like, where you want to go? Well, think about it. And when I get there, you can tell me where you want to go. So we had a thing of doing that. My brother-in-law, we kind of tip off each other's Facebook pages, and his wife, I'll call her. She's a wonderful, beautiful woman because her name is Donna, just like mine. And we'll chat or whatever, But there's so many people that are affected after the divorce. And the two people involved have to not only navigate through their heartbreak, heartache, feelings, they have to try to navigate through, most importantly, the children's. Now, let me say something. I have to say this to you guys because y'all know I'm an advocate for children. And I'm not going to say it was always easy. And I'm not going to say I never did it. To talk about your ex to your children is wrong. I don't care what they did to you. They did it to you. They did not do it to the children. Now there's a part of it that was done to the children, but it's their responsibility to take that on. But for y'all to have a conversation and say, hey, even if y'all are angry, y'all got to remember these babies didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to go through the ups and downs of your marriage, to fail, and for them to be out there trying to readjust their little lives while going through puberty, while learning how to walk, while trying to learn the healthy way of dating, while taking SATs, while doing homework, while trying to make the basketball team. All of those things. They didn't ask for none of the extra. Watch your mouth when you talking to them or around them about your ex. It's only fair. Now, if you want to blast off and woosah and shoot off, do it to a trusted friend. Do it with a trusted friend or family member. Someone who is not going to choose your side just because they're your friend. When I say trusted, a trusted one is going to say, all right, you're wrong now. A trusted one is going to say, I understand how you feel, and I'm going to support you wholeheartedly. What can I do? That's what a trusted friend, a trusted confidant will do. So blast off to another adult, not to your children about your ex. It's not fair to them. Don't keep them from their absent parent. Now, there's so many absent parents that remain absent on their own. Still, don't talk about them. Don't talk about them. Because one thing my mother told me, she and my father got divorced when we were very young. And when we got old enough, we have conversations, and she said, my grandmother told me, don't you talk about that man in front of those children. Don't do it. Because when they get old enough and they start understanding, they will learn him for themselves. They will learn him for themselves. And if we did not learn for ourselves, still learning some stuff for ourselves. But be that parent this is after divorce. Be that parent that's going to give them as much support as you need, as much support as possible. And again, even if your marriage ended and you're happy about it and you're moving along, they might not be. They don't understand it. They don't understand it. So if they look okay, if they're happy-go-lucky, if they're fine, that's all contingent of the two parents and how they deal with them. Because please understand, you may think you know everything your child is feeling. You may think you know everything that they're saying, that when they're with their friends or when they're with each other or whatever. Give them enough where they can feel comfortable and free about talking about their emotions and their feelings without feeling like they have to choose sides. A lot of times children feel like they have to choose sides. And guess what? There may have been no indication that that was necessary. But children are a different species, y'all. They don't understand how we feel and think they understand. They don't understand how adults understand. They don't. So we have to treat them as such. So after the divorce, I suggest not only take the time to work on you, to get some counseling, to learn how to adjust being uno. Get some counseling. Work on those work on that self-building portion, but don't leave the kids out. Don't leave the kids out. while you're working on you, while you're getting therapy for you, please remember them. So after the divorce, it may be hard. It may be financially straining. It may be emotionally. Listen, we go from those who had partners that went from a healthy situation, and most of us did, so we thought, went from a healthy situation to the worst situation we ever thought in life. I never wanted to get divorced. Never did I go into a marriage. But truth be told, y'all, when my children's father and I married one another, we had not a clue. We had not a clue. We were learning together. We were navigating together. I met Daryl my senior year of high school. I met Daryl the summer before my senior year of high school. That's when I met Daryl. And when I met Daryl, y'all, my biggest interest was basketball. I still had a year of high school to go. It was basketball. Like making sure I made the team, making sure they knew when I got to Germany who Donna was on the court. And then things started changing, things started maturing. And then dating came into place. And sex came into place. And I ended up getting pregnant with our oldest. I literally walked to receive my diploma pregnant. And nobody but my close friends knew it because I carried so small. I carried so tiny. It wasn't until maybe my 7th month that I literally blew up. And they're like, Donna pregnant? But we didn't know what we were doing. So a lot of times marriages can end because you can attribute it to the fact that we didn't have a clue. We didn't take the time to learn. We weren't given the tools of what a wife looked like and should be. We weren't given the tools of what a husband looked like and what it should be. So sometimes in the process of doing that, you're learning yourself and getting to know yourself. And you're like, oh my gosh, now I got this other person to deal with. Now I have to concern myself with him or her when I'm still trying to get my stuff together. Y'all, after the divorce, these are things that we have to consider after the divorce. We have to consider our financial status. Like you go from either a two income household or at least a 1 income household, and the other parent picked up the slack, took care of the house. Don't think that's not important in a financial standpoint. Do not think it's not important in a financial standpoint. So when you go, what about the woman who didn't work? What about the woman who stayed at home and took care of the children? What about the woman that trusted him to take care of the finances? What about the man? How do you get through after the divorce? How do you function and make sure that you're back on track? I hear a lot of men say that they had to start over financially. They had to start over pretty much financially when they got divorced because they now had child support. Some men had alimony, and the funds they had coming in wasn't even close to what they're used to having, and divvying up and using and separating or even sharing with a spouse that was bringing in money and funding and things like that. So can you imagine going from having the things you need and you want like that to financially having to say, oh, I can't buy this, I can't buy that, I can only get this, maybe we can look at getting that. I've heard a lot of men say, and a lot of men tend to be bitter. Not all men. A lot of men I've heard who have had divorces, I always hear a tone of bitterness. Some of them, there's a tone of bitterness because she took everything. I don't have nothing. I had to move into this little apartment, or I had to try to find some place to live. Now, let's be honest and real. Let's be honest and real. Sometimes those situations are brought on by self. Sometimes those situations are brought on by self. So, sir, if you decided to go out and cheat, if you decided to say, I'm not happy here, I'm not happy, you're not making me happy. If that's what you decided to do and you broke your family, you broke your family up, that's the consequences and results after the divorce. Ladies, if you felt like the grass was greener on the other side and you made a decision to leave your family or break up your household in some type of way, remind you this could be both ways. The consequences are the results. Now, please understand, I am not finger wagging, pointing my finger at anybody. I have gone through divorce more than one time. And truth be told, it should have only been one. It should have only been one. Because remember, I talked about earlier making those decisions without God not saying, hey, yeah, go ahead. And us making decisions and moves on our own. That's what happened. That's what happened. That's what happened. Do you try to make it work? Yeah, you try to make it work. But if it's not meant, it's not meant. So after the divorce, how do you deal with being broken after the divorce? How do you deal with knowing that he has moved on in less than 6 months or less than 3 months, and he has not only started a new family or moved in with a woman with her children, but has married, has remarried? How do you deal with that? Because a lot of times, Corey, a lot of times we hear about men rebounding just like that. And please understand and believe, brother, it was a rebound. It was a rebound. If you were cheating and you moved into another relationship during the cheating process, there is nothing about it that's covered or ordained by any belief factor. I don't care how good y'all look. I don't care how everybody loves to see y'all together. Oh, they so cute together. They're good. You floating on your own. He or her. You floating on your own. When you break your family to move to someone else without properly moving, without properly preparing your spouse, and without properly preparing your children, there's nothing about what you're doing that's successful and going to be blessed. Hands down, period. It's not the book of Donna. It's not. It's not. But what do you do? What do you do, sis? What do you do when you're so broken because you had no idea after the divorce that you were your marriage was even in trouble? What do you do, brother, when she shows up and says, I don't want to be with you anymore? Like, I'm gone. I don't want to be with you anymore. And either she takes the children, if y'all have children, or she says, you can keep the kids. What do you do after the divorce? What do you do? What do you do when you are so emotionally broken that you don't want to get out of bed, that you don't want to go to work, that your children need you, but you don't even have the strength to be there for them? What do you do? after the divorce. So let me tell y'all, when my children's father and I got divorced, it was so many different emotions that surrounded it. I thought that's what I wanted because we got married young, and there was a lot of things I feel like I didn't do and didn't experience. I thought that's what I wanted. Now, I didn't go do anything backhanded, dirty, or cheating, or nothing like that to get out of it. We just start talking, and the more we talked, the more we argued. The more we argued, the more we separated. The more we separated, the less we wanted to be around each other. The less we wanted. Let me tell y'all how I knew it was the biggest mistake he had made. And I'm going to say he had made. I'm going to tell y'all why I'm going to say he had made. Because when I said I'm here for it, and whatever it takes for us to work through it, because we about dumb in this process, I'm here for it. I didn't file for divorce. He filed for divorce. But let me tell y'all what happened after divorce proceedings. We walk out, the judge makes his ruling, said you are divorced, da-da-da. We walk out and we get to the elevator and we bawling. We bawling. And he hugged me and he was like, why did we do this? And let me tell you how egotistical and stuck in my hooch. My response was, oh, you did that. I gave you what you wanted. Now, true enough, if you ask me for it, because I kept telling him, if you ask me for a divorce, I'm going to give it to you. But no, I'm not going to ask you for one. Because although I don't like you, we have enough to build on and continue to build on. But he made a decision. And I obliged. But I knew it was a mistake, and he knew it was a mistake, because I ain't gonna tell y'all why. After all these years, we still have I don't even know what kind of relationship to call it, to be honest. It's not the healthiest, but it's not the worst. And I'm gonna say, truth be told, y'all, not on my end. Not on my end. But we knew there were different times that we were like, should we try this again? Because we shouldn't. That was the only divorce that hit me and took me through 50,000 emotions. The last divorce that I had, let me tell y'all why I was upset about it. I was upset about it not because the marriage ended, because I already knew the marriage needed to end. I knew that. I knew that way before y'all did. And I said way before y'all did, because remember I said it was very public. But you guys were shocked. But I was already in the zone. But what hurt and bothered and upset me about this last divorce was the audacity. I truly felt like the audacity of this brother. Because this was the time that I said, you know what? Let me be that woman that says, I'm going to choose, I'm going to allow, hey, Catherine, I'm going to allow this relationship, because you always hear about the underdog, the brother that's working and building and has a plan. He's always in motion trying to make things happen. I will never in my damn life, and I don't care what y'all say, y'all can say, listen, I will never again in my life deal with a man, potential, yes. I will never again deal with a man that has potential. Never. And I understand that where I am and how God has blessed me and how I was able to build my business and my company and to get where I am. I understand my thought process was, I don't need a man. I want a man. And in wanting a man, the need for him was the need for us to grow and build together. Grow and build together. I'm talking about after the divorce, y'all. To grow and build together. But my thought process was the audacity. Because all of this was me. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. He didn't have to, he wasn't able to come in and just do nothing. He got 2 jobs, and I'm saying he's building, he's working, he's trying to build his business. The popcorn shop. Should have kept my money. And I'm not saying that in a bitter manner, y'all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the audacity. That's how I felt. So my feeling after the divorce, the frustration and the anger that I had, and the tears that I shed, and the quiet that I was necessary. It was necessary. And in the process of that, I went back to this. I went back to remembering who the hell I was. I went back to focusing on building my empire for my children. It didn't entail him or what he had or what he wanted to bring in or what he wanted to take away or whatever. Let me tell y'all something. It seems to be a taboo, right? But let me tell y'all, I loved it and I presented it, a prenup. Now, most people that hit prenup feel like, oh, you get a prenup because you don't trust your spouse. You don't trust your spouse. Okay. That had nothing to do with why I got a prenup. Nothing. In all fairness, if you meet someone and y'all preparing for marriage and they have a business that they established and they worked blood, sweat, and tears from, if you truly love them and care for them, a prenup would be something that you will gladly sign, or you possibly will recommend yourself, because it's saying, you know what? I love you enough. I care for you enough. I respect you enough that I can appreciate what you did. I can appreciate the hard work that it took for you to get here. And I don't want anything, to interfere with that. Anything to interfere with that. So we're going to protect that. And when I asked for a prenup, when I suggested, recommended, or gave no option for a prenup, it wasn't that I thought he was going to take what I had. It's not what I thought at all. I felt like, hey, you have a business. I have a business. Blood, sweat, and tears. We worked years to build and develop. Let's protect that. Let's protect this. And everything after that, everything moving forward that has us attached to it, we can build that together. So when I say a prenup, is nothing wrong with it. And if you think it's a nasty and a bad word, and it's a sign of mistrust, that's your opinion. I'm sorry. But please don't be insulted by what I'm saying, y'all. I'm not going to say that. That's a statement that I made to people that personally know me and wouldn't be offended by what I would say. But getting a prenup was the smartest thing, because although, again, it wasn't a thought of mistrust for him, it was a thought of let's move forward, established with where we are, with all the room to grow and build and expand after the divorce. If you are dealing with, or you dealt with, let me say this. If you've dealt with the woes and issues and sadness of, and the anger and frustration of your marriage ending, especially if you weren't really, really aware that it was over, what do you do after the divorce? You do what the people suggested in the video. You do what my shirt says. You start focusing on you. And it is okay. You can now be totally selfish. Why? You don't have another person to consider. And in the process of considering yourself, that's going to consider your children if you have them, because you're trying to make things better for you. So I'm not telling you to take a week to cry and get over it. I never ever believe in telling people to get over something. You don't have to get over anything. But what you can do is get past it enough where it doesn't break you when you think about it. When you think about it, I can think about so many bad experiences in my life right now, y'all. And there was a day and time where I would bawl and shut down because of these things that happened to me. Today, okay, what did that do for me? Did it make me stronger? Did it make me wiser? Did it make me understand certain things in a different manner? Did I deserve it? No. Did I bring it on myself? No. But what good is it going to do for me to sulk and cry and shut down every time I think about it? It's not going to be conducive to my growth. Yeah, no, I love that word. But so important, so importantly, getting counseling. Getting counseling. Me versus me. I am my only competition. Getting counseling to help you to first grieve the situation, understand the situation, move past the situation, and start building yourself, because you, sir, ma'am, are beyond special. You, sir, ma'am, are beyond deserving of more than what you were shown and given. And when you understand how important you are, and there's so many aspects of life that would not function without you, it doesn't matter. I understand you were so in love. I understand you thought that was your forever. But when we realize and learn that people are going to be who they are, regardless of how many tears we shed, how much we fight. Listen, when mine said, I'm gonna divorce you, like it was like that, y'all. It was really honestly kind of comical. I really wanted to laugh. But in the moment, I'm like, let me not, because he's feeling a certain kind of way. Let me try to understand. But his actions afterwards were like, all right, bro. So he was like, I was trying to talk to him, and he just blurted it out. I'm divorcing you, Donna. I'm divorcing you. And if I had pearls, I would have clutched them. Like, what the heck? What? For what? Like, I was really like, what? But when he said it, y'all, and I was like, okay. After, because there was some stuff that happened after that. Emotions ran high. Yes. And now I'm in this mode. I mean, okay. Let's okay. So he was like, I'm divorcing you, Don. I'm divorcing you. And I'm like, I digested it, because I was blindsided, y'all. I truly didn't see it. Talking about after the divorce. Hold on, I'm coming. After the divorce. So when he said it and I digested it, and I said to him, so what's your plan? Like, what are you going to do? And he was like, well, I need about 30 days to, find a place. Y'all, my response was 30 days. Oh no, bruh. You leaving today because you made the decision that you were going to divorce me. And that's what you said. So you made a decision, obviously, without putting your plan in order and your ducks in a row. Because truth be told, y'all, I wouldn't have said nothing until I had a place, a car. Because if you're going to do it grimy like that, then be orderly with your grime. If you're going to do it grimy like that. So I was like, oh no, you 30 days? No. You obviously made this decision and now you're blurting it out to me instead of us having an adult conversation. So I need you to go on in them same trash bags you came in with after the divorce, y'all. The same trash bags you came in with, the same ones you can go. This brother went and got a U-Haul truck, y'all. For the life of me, I didn't understand why he got a U-Haul truck. Isn't U-Haul trucks for furniture? So I'm like, so at this point, y'all, I am beyond pissed. I am beyond pissed. Now, we had some conversations after, because again, when I said I went through so many different emotions before we actually stood in front of the judge, because when we went to stand in front of the judge, y'all, sister was lawyered up and okay, prenup, promissory note. That's what the judge kept saying. Prenup, promissory note. When I left that situation, y'all, when I left that courthouse, when I say there was physically a burden lifted from my body, my mind, that was it. That was it. Because every day I prayed, Lord, help me to see me. And it wasn't help me to see me like you think it was. I was trying to look at where I came in at to cause an issue, because ain't nobody perfect. Where I came in at and how I got blindsided and whatever, right? But in the process of saying, Lord, help me to see me, he helped me to see me. He helped me to see how special me is. He helped me to see how important me is. He helped me to see the necessity of me getting back on my feet. Well, I went off my feet, but y'all know what I'm saying. Getting my stuff back in order, making some changes, changing my name, taking some names off of stuff, getting things together, and moving along. And when I say, y'all, it was the best year. Like months. I was enjoying myself. I was doing things I could not do. And when I say could not do, literally could not do. Passports was on deck. I delayed getting my passport, y'all, because this brother couldn't get his. I wanted to go certain places, and I didn't because he could not go. The audacity, like all this stuff I'm thinking, y'all. But I took the time to not only listen to the importance of me, I took the time to make an effort to show how important I was. And that's what the first steps have to be after the divorce. After your tears, even if you cry tears now, it may have been a while. Please get some counseling. Please get some counseling for you and for your children if you have it. Counseling is the best. Ding, 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 ding. Counseling is the best thing you can do for yourself. Even if nothing is wrong. Guidance. Because truth be told, y'all, we all have some trauma that we've dealt with that brings us to where we are, to be who we are. After the divorce, start a new hobby. Go back to doing some things that you did as a teenager. You never know. You never know what things will be sparked for you. Hang out with some friends. That's what the lady mentioned. You want to keep your circle. When I say, y'all, my circle is so tight, when I say my support system is redonkulous, and I was supported so strong through this process, people were messaging me, y'all. I didn't even know who they were. And it was because of a presence that I showed and the truth that I spoke and showed and presented of myself through this whole process. You cannot speak love, joy, happiness, success, and fail. You can't. You can't. If you speak something enough, if you speak it enough and you say it continually, you're going to start doing it. You're going to start positioning yourself where these successes and these things happen. Will there be failures? Of course there will be, but you won't give up. So you don't give up on you, the success of you, even if it means I went to a movie by myself for the first time. I went to dinner by myself for the first time, and I enjoyed it. And then the first time may be hard. Second time, I enjoyed it. Do what you need to do to build yourself back up, male or female. Do what you need to do after the divorce. Life does not end. It is not over for you. And please, 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 please take your time when dating. Take your time when moving. I have to say that my network of friends, there are about 3 males, 3 men that are like, and they were there from the beginning and they were there through the end. And they are still there. And I appreciate them. I appreciate them. To have a network of people in your life that says to you, you know what? I know it was bad, but you're going to be all right. I know this is not what you wanted, but you're going to be all right. Keep speaking it. Success is in power is in the tongue. Speak success and you cannot do anything because you're going to start putting yourself around successful people. You're going to start searching out successful situations to put yourself in. You're going to start building yourself to say, hey, I want to do this for me. I want to do this for my children. I want to do this to be successful. When I say about building a wall kingdom, although my crumb snatchers, grown as they may be, are doing well. I'm so proud of them. They sometimes be in my pocket and they grown. I will always be there for my children. And this kingdom that I'm building is for them. For them. For them. My children that I birthed and my nephew, who is my child. This is for them. I'm going to teach them to work hard. Well, I've already taught them to work hard, but I'm going to continue to show an example of what it means to be successful, even in the midst of the foolishness of divorce. After the divorce, love on yourself. That's it, y'all. That's it. It is 9:13. It's went a little bit longer. And especially being that we didn't get a lot of input going tonight. I see we have people on YouTube, but no one typed in the chat. But that's okay. You don't have to. You're still here, and I appreciate it. So prayerfully, hopefully, I said something that gives to you that can help you be a success for yourself. That don't mean opening a business. That don't mean getting a new job. Unless that's what you want. Unless that's what you want. I love y'all. Y'all have a great night. Just know that after divorce is not the end of the world. It's not. All right. See y'all next week. Hey, keep sending y'all topics. Send in y'all topics. Ladies, the brothers, oh, they still leading y'all. Like, y'all be, yeah, y'all come on and, y'all comment and stuff like that. But these topics, like the stuff we want to hit and talk about, send them in. Send them in. All right, my brothers, I appreciate y'all. Sis, I appreciate you too. Good night. Y'all know I like to end YouTube first.